Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines with Living the One Light. All right. In this video, I'm going to talk about the new moon that is coming up this Monday, December 30th, 2024. And this is it feels like a really important new moon for a lot of reasons. And a particularly important one to be conscious of. Um, I'm going to talk about many, many layers and all of that. Um, and today I watched the new moon video that Heather Ensworth did, and as often happens, there were so many things she talked about that were like a perfect puzzle piece for what I was about to talk about in this video. So I definitely recommend going back and watching that video of Heather's. Yeah, because there's certain components she brings in that I'm not going to go into detail here about, but fit in just so I'll mention some of them and then maybe refer you to her video to dive in more deeply. Um, and then I'm going to take this in my own angle on it. Um, yeah, but really, yeah, this feels like such an important new moon. First of all, because it is happening on December 30th, which is, Christmas Eve. So it's happening obviously at the very end of this year, 2024, and sets the stage for entering 2025. So that's big in and of itself. But the other thing that's really feels like it's especially important to kind of take a deep breath and be with these energies in a really slow and careful and conscious um and held kind of way, is because there's this really interesting combination of energies where I'll show you on the chart in a minute, um where there's many, many, many different ways in which there are energies going on that could be experienced as, or could manifest as, or we could feel as pretty difficult, in all different ways. It's really interesting. And so I want to drop into what is the underlying potential purpose in that, especially if any of us are feeling these difficult feelings, which probably, given that we're human, we probably have some of those feelings. Um, and I also want to point out some of the aspects of this chart that are really, really beautiful and that speak to many of the themes I'm feeling in general, and that I feel like are majorly, beautiful about the potential of 2025. So, um, yeah, so I'm looking forward to dropping into this with you. Okay, so let's start with the actual chart. All right, so here is the new moon. It's going to be at 9 degrees, 43 minutes of Capricorn, um, on December 30th, 2024, and that will be at 2:26 p.m. Pacific. So for some of you in other parts of the world, it'll actually be December 31st. So it'll really be New Year's Eve, really New Year's Eve for you. And okay, so I'm gonna drop in component by component here. And I'm gonna start with the angle of these energies that could feel difficult, and the why of that. And then I'm gonna switch gears to what I see as the potential beautiful amazingness in the same similar energies, okay, and the other energies too. And Heather kind of hints at this also, that I totally so completely agree with what she said about, I've talked about this in my own other videos too, that when we look at astrology, it is feeling more and more and more important to me. My wording would be, this is not what Heather said, my wording would be that we approach it with attention to its quantum potential and its like its highest expression potential, because the only way that anything reaches its highest potential is if we can even imagine it. We know that about all kinds of things, right? So if you just think about, being with a child, and, any of us who have been parents or teachers or psychotherapists or have known a child, have been a child, just speaking as being a parent and also having worked as a psychotherapist with children, it's really, really important to see the potential in them and to hold that for them and to be with that with them in order for them to be able to reach it, to even believe in themselves, right? And so the same thing is true. It's not that I want us to, I'm not advocating spiritual bypassing at all, but I do think it's really important to feel that high, high, high frequency potential that is available all the time, and specifically with these energies in astrology. Yeah, great. I won't go on and on about that, but I think you get the point. So, okay, so let's just take this component by component. So first of all, we have the new moon. It's in Capricorn, and it is conjunct. The sun and the moon are conjunct, and they're exactly to the degree also conjunct Quawar and Pholus, and then not too far Ixion. And Heather, this is one component that Heather goes into much more deeply in her video, so go watch her video if you want to hear more about that. But on the basic level, this Quawar Pholus Ixion conglomerate grouping has been really prominent in 2024. And those three, along with Ceres, this past July, August, September, were being squared by the nodes of the moon. And I mean, they're still loosely squaring the nodes of the moon, but they were really highlighted, really prominent, especially in August, especially August. And to put it in a nutshell, the way I feel those energies together is a very strong potential for us to be doing pretty significant, pretty deep ancestral healing and releasing of karmic patterning. So again, go to Heather's video to hear more about the specifics of Quawar, Pholus, and Ixion. But and I've talked about it in previous videos too. But that's the gist of that. Okay, so when we have a new moon conjunct all of that, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if, on one level, our attention is brought to those karmic patterns collectively or individually that maybe we are needing to let go of, or that we're ready to let go of. And with Ixion in there, I definitely often associate Ixion with the karmic patterning of patriarchy and the stuckness of some of the patterns we've been in. And yeah, certainly our attention could get brought to that level of things, right? That's common sense at this point. So on the one hand, feeling that could feel a little difficult. On the other hand, it's a new moon with all of it. So it's a sense of, well, okay, great. So that exists. It has existed. And how are we going to come into this in a new way? And I'm going to say so much more about the new way and the quantum potential in that, and our relationship with, Capricorn structures and Earth, Gaia, helping to co-create those structures, those new quantum structures in our own body. And there's so many things I'm going to say with that. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that in a second. But that's component number one of this chart. Then here's something really important about this new moon also. The day before the new moon, so on December 29th, Chiron is going direct at 19 degrees of Aries. And so Chiron is, the wounded healer, the centaur, who's the mentor of many, many gods, and very esteemed healer and all these things. Okay, so for sure, whenever we have Chiron doing something prominent, then themes of healing come up. definitely. But what's also interesting, given that Chiron is going direct the day before this new moon, on the day of the new moon, Asclepius, the asteroid Asclepius, is going direct also. Wait, let me just double check. Hang on one second. Hang on. I'm gonna just check something. I'll be right back with you. Okay, yeah. So I didn't want to make you watch me check the exact timing. But yeah, so within less than 2 hours of the exact new moon, Asclepius goes direct. And it goes direct exactly trining the new moon at 9 degrees of Taurus. Okay. So Asclepius, this is why this is interesting. Asclepius is one of the mentees of Chiron, and he is considered the father of medicine. And then in addition, his daughter, Hygeia, this asteroid right here, just went direct as well. Also in December. I can't remember the exact day, but in the last couple of weeks. So the three main things I look at in a chart regarding the healers are Chiron and Hygeia most often, but then sometimes I throw in Asclepius, and all three of them are going direct, basically all at the same time. And Chiron and Asclepius in particular are going direct right in line with this new moon. And Hygeia and Chiron are very, very close to each other right now as they're going direct in those mid degrees of Aries. Okay. And then what's also interesting is that at the time of this new moon, Mercury happens to be at 18 degrees of Sagittarius, which is right under the stars of Ophiuchus. And Ophiuchus, the constellation, is Asclepius. Okay. So yeah, there's just all this I want to say talk, like all of this energy around healing, healers, energy healing. So I associate Chiron very much. I mean, Chiron was an herbalist and very much involved in physical healing, but I love the approach of Barbara Hand Clow, which associates Chiron with energy, the energy body and energy healing. And I absolutely resonate with that very, very strongly. So there's this really strong component of I would say energy healing in all of this. Okay. Another layer of that energy healing, energetic, is also that we currently, the day I'm recording this, Friday, December 27th, we have Venus exactly squaring Uranus. And so by the time of this new moon, that energy is slightly moving on a little bit, but it's absolutely still in play. I mean, Venus is still effectively squaring Uranus. And so I'm going to say a little bit about how that could be feeling difficult, but also there's this, again, this emphasis on the potential for really, really, really beautiful, powerful quantum energy healing and coming into the quantum potential of everything. Uranus and Aquarius, very much about that. And Venus being very connected to our bodies and us as Earth and us as being here and yet being the energy body that we are, right? Venus in Aquarius and then squaring Uranus in Taurus, like super, super, super strongly supporting us in that way. So yeah, and I'm going to come back to all these things that I'm going to tie it all together in a minute. But so one way though that the Venus-Uranus square could be feeling difficult is that, similar to how the new moon is going to be conjunct all these energies that could be associated with karmic healing and releasing the patterning of the patriarchy and all of that, and the structures of the patriarchy, Venus in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus is a very powerful combination. Because they're, first of all, they're in mutual reception. So what that means is that Venus is in the sign ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in one of the signs ruled by Venus. So they're really, really talking to each other. And both of these energies on the ultimate level have the potential to really hold us to come straight into deep alignment, real alignment with ourselves as energy beings and as beings of Gaia. And of course, Gaia is a being of energy as well. And right, so there could be this sense of relationships changing really fast, or other things just sort of flip, really quickly going, that was out of alignment. And maybe there could be the sense of like something changes really quickly, and you've known for a while, maybe even subconsciously, that wasn't whatever dynamic was going on wasn't in alignment for you, but it didn't show itself until it suddenly showed itself, right? Like maybe you weren't even conscious um that was out of alignment, but you knew on another level that it was. This energy absolutely could be just sort of going boop. Like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. Now it's time. Like it's time to come fully back into alignment. So that can feel really jarring. That can feel like your energy body has to readjust itself and so come back to your own being, which can be really hard. Can feel really not fun. But there's a point to it, right? There's a purpose to it. And again, I'm going to come back to that in a second. The another component that just hands down, absolutely, it's hard to deny, could be feeling difficult, is that in the time of this new moon, and leading up to this new moon, and then after the new moon, is this second of 3 Pluto Mars oppositions. So Pluto will be exactly opposite Mars on January 3rd, so a few days after this new moon. But at the time of the new moon, it's basically opposite. I mean, it's already basically opposite. And so again, it's this sense of things could be coming up that just really need to come up, especially things around any kind of out of balance sense of power dynamics, relationship dynamics. There could be like a upsurge of anger, or trying to think how else this could feel. Anything having to do with really needing to, what it's really ultimately doing is bringing you back to your own power, and bringing you back to what real power is and what the quantum potential of power is. So Pluto now in Aquarius, right? Being ruled by that Uranus in Taurus, who is squaring Venus. um, yeah, there's just this, it's like the divine, this is how I feel it. The divine and us ourselves as the divine know the ultimate truth. And we know on the ultimate level what is really, really in alignment and what is really true for us. Um, and all of this is supporting us to come into that radical alignment. And the radical alignment could be changing from moment to moment to moment, right? Like we're in constant motion, even in our galaxy, even through the cosmos. So just because one thing is aligned even this morning doesn't mean that it's aligned right this minute. Hopefully, usually there's a little more stability than that in our lives, but this is really about us keeping, even on a very subtle energy body level, continually keeping in alignment with what's in alignment, and being flexible to do that. which can be hard, period. And it can feel really jarring, and it can feel like, yeah, this Pluto opposite Mars absolutely could feel very, very emotionally difficult. Just say it like that. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Not necessarily. I don't want to put any ideas out there, right? But yeah. And in the world, yes, yes, there could be violence, there could be whatever. That's just a yes. But the ultimate point of it, the ultimate purpose of it is that it's helping us to align back to what is real power, what is real truth, what is the what's the ultimate divine will and our will as one. And how can those be in dance together? How can we basically release into the divine truth and the divine power of who we are and of what life is? Okay. And then two more, sorry, two more things. Really, really key and important here. So as Mars is opposite Pluto, and as we have this new moon, and as we're entering 2025, the north node of the moon is at this point at 1 degree of Aries. And so the nodes move backwards. So by the middle of January 2025, in just a couple of weeks, the nodes are going to switch from Aries and Libra into Pisces and Virgo. That's a very big shift of energy. And that shift is going to be a big deal through all of 2025 and the first half of 2026. So the nodes stay in one set of signs for approximately 18 months. So we've had the nodes in Libra and Aries since the middle of 2023. So a year and a half ago, they switched into those signs, and now they're about to switch again into Pisces and Virgo. But as the North Node, is in this very last degree of being in Aries, that question of what is this Aries thing we've been doing? What is the sort of negative potential of the Aries energy, and what is the really high level potential of Aries and also of Mars, which is the ruler of Aries? How can we choose to be in relationship with those energies in the highest possible way? And what do we need to be releasing from those energies? So again, and Pluto is really, I would say, supporting that big time, right? It's like it's opposite Mars, and Mars is going retrograde. So right now Mars is very, very, very powerful. People talk about, so important. People talk about retrograde planets being weaker. I do not agree with this. And the more I feel into this, I just don't agree. I just don't understand how that's even a thing. Because what it means when Mars is retrograde, it means that the Earth is in the time of our orbit around the sun and in our relationship to Mars, where we come between Mars and the sun. So that means that we're in the time when we are the closest we get to Mars. And the new Mars cycle is going to start also in mid-January. That's when on a chart, it would look like Mars is opposite the sun. What that really means is the Earth will be precisely between Mars and the sun. And so it'll be the closest we get to Mars. We'll have the most direct relationship we get with Mars. And so that's a really big, big, big deal. So that new Mars, I mean, this is actually fascinating. It's dawning on me right this second. The new Mars cycle is starting almost at the exact same time as the North Node is switching from Aries into Pisces. That's really, really interesting. The last Mars cycle, the one we're currently finishing. Wow. Okay, this is all clicking together in my mind. Wow. Yeah. So Mars cycles last about 26 months. And the last Mars cycle that we're currently finishing, the current one that we're finishing right now, started December 7th, I want to say, 2022. So we are at the ending of that Mars cycle right now, and the new one is beginning in mid-January 2025. And that's actually, you could go back and look at what was going on for you in your relationship to anything relating to Mars and Aries and, the masculine or anger or power or your own will or action or anything you associate with Mars. Go back to December 7th-ish, 2022, and kind of trace your experience between then and now, and feel into what's there. So that Mars cycle started at, I think it was 16 degrees of Gemini, somewhere around there. So you could also think about that part of your chart. What, if you know your chart, what's going on in that area of the sky, 16 degrees of Gemini? That is where Jupiter approximately is right now, interestingly too. So wherever that Mars cycle started in December of 2022, Jupiter is now right in that same spot. And the new Mars cycle, which is starting in the middle of January 2025, is going to start at 26 degrees of Cancer. So over here, which is actually squaring the area where, Chiron is going to be transiting this year. And actually it's squaring also Eris Xena. So that's a whole thing. That's a different topic. I'll explore that later. But what's really important about that right now is that we're in this ending time of the Mars cycle, which can, again, it's so many of the same things emphasizing each other all over the place here. So Mars opposite Pluto, the North Node trining Mars, and in the very last degree of Aries with Mars as its ruler, and then Mars itself coming, and the Earth coming into the very, very, very last couple of weeks of its current cycle with Mars, while the North Node is in the last couple of weeks of its time in Aries. It's like, so we're in this ending energy regarding all things Aries and Mars. Again, all those things I just said, but in particular, maybe our relationship with the masculine, with our inner masculine, with the divine masculine, with what, our question of what is the masculine, which again is very tied in with this Ixion, Quawar, Pholus energy, where the new moon is. So this question of like, well, what is this whole power dynamic that's been dancing on this planet for all this time? And then we all want that to change. Like, we're all pretty darn dedicated for that to change. And so all of these energies could be bringing up many components of those energies that, again, could feel quite difficult. But if they do, the point is that we have an opportunity to be present with it really consciously, and to honor it, honor ourselves, honor the moment we are in and our process with it, and to let it go. And then then this brings in the last two components I want to talk about. It also then brings in this opportunity for radical forgiveness. So first, it would say these energies aren't as strongly about radical forgiveness. They're more about things surfacing and maybe us setting an intention for like a newness with it. But what's coming is, and already is kind of, the energy is already there, but it's coming much more strongly, is that, like I said, the North Node is going to go from Aries into Pisces. And when it does that, it's going to conjunct Neptune. Then later anyway, in March is a whole big thing that's going to be conjunct Venus and Mercury. And then Nessus and Saturn. But before the North Node gets to do all those things, Saturn and Nessus are coming quite close to a conjunction, and they're going to be conjunct in a few weeks. I think it's February something. Anyway, but in terms of the point of right now, that energy of the Saturn Nessus conjunction is coming. It's like it's in the field for sure. And one of the things I'm going to talk to Pam Gregory about this in a video coming up really soon. So I'll leave some of that for then, but absolutely one of the things I feel in that is this incredibly, when I talked about this in another video, this really powerful potential again for radical forgiveness, radical forgiveness, not spiritual bypassing, but a grounded way of radically releasing karma and radically releasing structures that no longer serve. So, and what's fascinating is this brings us back to the new moon, because the new moon is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, which is in Pisces, heading toward its conjunction with Nessus. So this all comes, everything is all tied together in a really beautiful way. Okay, so those are kind of the, I've touched on a little bit of the positive potential there, but I mostly was there focusing on, okay, so yeah, lots and lots of these energies could feel difficult. I mean, I just name it, just to normalize it in case you happen to feel it. I'm not saying you should feel any of these things. Hopefully you won't. It's not fun to feel these things, but in these energies, I could imagine feeling a sense of, and to say also, Saturn is also currently squaring Jupiter. Okay, so that just ties in yet another thing here, that the second of 3 Saturn Jupiter conjunctions was exact on December 24th, so just a few days ago. And at the time of this new moon, that's still definitely, they're still squaring each other, and they will be for a while. So and then they have a third exact square when we get to June. But yeah, so that's another energy kind of highlighting the Saturnian energy of this time. So that could be feeling like, could have a sense of depression or like even confusion, stuckness, or like apathy, or with the Pluto-Mars opposition, anger, rage, grief definitely, of course, could be there. Fear with the Venus-Uranus square, could be a sense of fear or panic or anxiety, or yeah, just so many, there's a potential for a lot of these difficult kind of feelings. Okay, but let me get to the really great point. So it's not to be pessimistic at all. This is all in service of where we're heading, okay? Which is a big deal. Okay, now I'm going to drop into the happy stuff, what I really feel like, super excited about. Okay, and all of this helps us get to this happy part, okay? Because we have to release this karmic stuff. We have to release these patterns that don't serve. We need to get in alignment. If we've been in certain patterns and we've kind of subconsciously known they're not in alignment, we need to be in alignment. So this is this is partly what we need. Okay. So okay, here's the happy part, the part I'm really excited about. Okay, the potential I really feel here. New moon in Capricorn having to do with structures, ruled by Saturn in Pisces, so having to do with divine structures. Being trined by Asclepius, the god of medicine, the father of medicine, in Taurus, who is going direct the same within a couple of hours, less than 2 hours of the exact new moon. The day before the new moon, Chiron, who is the mentor of Asclepius and who's also an incredible healer, also going direct. Very near Hygeia, the goddess of healing, who is the daughter of Asclepius. So all this healing, 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 healing themes, right? And then Asclepius tying in with the new moon. Okay, so just right there, I feel so much potential for us to be getting held to come into brand new, I would say, brand new to us, maybe not brand new in existence, brand new to us, knowing of the healing potential, like healing systems and the quantum potential of our own beings and our own bodies and the energy structures that are the truth, the ultimate truth of who we are. So when we're releasing all those karmic patterns, all of the gunk, all the structures that are ready to go, what comes next? Like the potential is so amazing that as we are held to release, 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 and do this radical forgiveness, with the Nessus and the Saturn, and come back into alignment, even maybe in our relating, our relationships, our relationship to our body, with the Venus in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus, all of it. Okay, all of it, all of it, all of it, and even Mercury sitting there under the stars of Ophiuchus, who is Asclepius. What it really comes down to for me is I feel Gaia so excited because she is shifting right now. I mean, I can feel her. I know a lot of you can feel her. And if you were part of the Council of Infinity, the free gathering that I held on solstice, which is still available if you want to listen to the recording, it's available indefinitely in my free new community. Please sign up for that. It's there forever and ever, and totally free. So enjoy it. That was a very powerful gathering. What came through in the channeling was just like, wow. But one of the things that was really alive, really powerfully alive, was Gaia. So the first half of that channeling was Gaia speaking in a way that, like, I had a hard time not crying through the whole thing. It was wow. Um, and Heather mentioned this actually also in her video, which I found really interesting. I had forgotten this fact. She mentioned that Rory Duff, in his work, if you're familiar with him, has been predicting that this solstice that we just had would be the time when the Earth's ley lines would come fully back online, all year round. And in my own experience, I can see and feel the ley lines of the Earth and the whole body and the being of Gaia all the time. And so I've felt that was what she was wanting us to do for years and years and years and years. And so when I heard Rory predict that it would be this timing, I was a little skeptical in the sense of like, yeah, but that potential is always there. Like, that's the ultimate truth. What's fascinating to me is that it turns out that this timing is exactly when I am feeling it happening. So, so when I heard Heather say that in her video, I went, oh yeah, whoa. That's exactly what came alive in that in the channeling for the Council of Infinity that we were part of. Many of you were part of, the day after. It was in the solstice energy. Still, it was the day after the solstice technically, but it was held then to be in the energetics of the solstice. And now when I go deep into my own praying and I drop in and I feel what's alive, I just feel Gaia like really excited and really happy. And basically what she's saying to me is like, or maybe to us, is that, yeah, she's in this quote unquote ascension process. But that does not mean, that we're going to fly off of her body or something. We are her body. We are we are made of her. And so as she is quantumizing herself, and I talked about this in a previous video too, as she's quantumizing herself, really what she's wanting is for us to do that too, but it has to be done in a really careful, held way. And that is actually going to be the entire point of the upcoming series I'm holding starting in January that's going to run through all of 2025. It's called A Year with Ben Weiss and Friends. And that's available to join if you're interested. But the whole point of that series is this, is to hold us individually and collectively to in concert with the beings, the inner earth beings, who are going to be the primary kind of hosts for us over the year. And then also, though, with other benevolent realms, so like unicorns and fairies and dragons, or whoever is wanting to come forward, they're going to be holding space for us, to really support us, to teach us, to help us remember how to do this quantumizing of our own, like coming into our own quantum selves as Earth, as Gaia. Like she's already doing it. She's supporting us. It's like our bodies are, what I feel in my body is like in constant communication as Gaia. It's just a matter of tuning, remembering that that's what's going on, and that it's even possible to attune to that. And yeah, and having ways to come back into that on a regular basis, and then get supported over the course of the year in whatever way, as this process is going on with Gaia. How can we as beings of Gaia, Gaians, really be in concert with that, with her, with ourselves, and do it in a held, grounded, and radically grounded, safe way. So again, that's the whole point of that A Year with Ben Weiss and Friends series, and that's starting January 10th. So yeah, again, I would love to have you join that if that calls to you. But even if you're not part of that, this is going on, and so so the potential for this coming into this radical alignment, this radical quantumizing of yourself, of ourselves as Gaia, and coming into a deep knowing of the healing potential and even the healing systems coming back alive in us, from our own wisdom, from our own knowing, and from these infinite realms of benevolent beings who are, along with Gaia, really showing themselves again. That was the other component that was like, wow, that came through in that channeling at that free gathering last weekend, was this re-emerging of all these infinite realms who have relegated themselves to the shadows, and they're saying, okay, they're coming forward. So again, if you want to listen to that recording, please feel free. I'll put the link here. You can access that in the free community that I've started, and I would love, again, for you to join that free community either way. Yeah, okay, that's a lot. um so yeah, I hope you get what I'm trying to say. And my camera is trying to adjust itself, sorry for the blurriness. um I hope you get the point. It's like, yes, I want to acknowledge that this time already right now, and moving through next week, all the way through at least January 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I don't know. It's kind of in that area. Definitely. There's so many ways in which it could be feeling difficult. And I want to acknowledge that and not sugarcoat it. And give a sense of, the why, or the potential purpose in the whole thing. And then a vision of like, what's the potential that we're together we can do this, right? That would be really, 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 yeah. I'm really excited about it, to be honest. And in the meantime, I would give this one piece of advice if you want it. it's like, okay, so if we're feeling those difficult things, what can we do? Well, I'll just name something I've been doing for myself, which is just even I'll just I think I've mentioned this before. I in my own I I have my bed right under the not right under, but very near my window, and I keep my window open. I live in a temperate place, so California, so it's not too cold and not too hot. And I live really near the ocean. And so all these circumstances probably aren't identical for you, but maybe you have some way it could be similar. And so what I personally do often is I'll lie there and let that ocean breeze come through. And my bed is really low to the ground, just like a mattress on a wooden floor. So I just and I'll feel Gaia rise up, like her energy being rising up through me with that breeze coming in, and I can hear the birds, or at night often I can hear owls, or whatever it is, or the light coming through, let's say it's sunset or whatever it is. If the sun is out, I mean, obviously I feel that sunlight. Or if it's nighttime, I'll feel into the stars and the moon if the moon is out. And I'll just let her rise up and be me, in a sense. Like, I just let her energy rise up, and mm, different things happen at different moments when I do that, but it's like she'll rise up and show me something. Like, show me, um like, there'll be earth beings, like fairies and gnomes will come in, and if I'm feeling upset about something, comfort me and take care of me. Or her energy itself will just start speaking with me, or I'll just feel held. I mean, really super simple. Just remember that we're literally Gaia, and we're always being held by her. I love what Barbara Juniper said the other day when we did the song medicine video together. She said, gravity is literally Gaia holding us. I mean, it's just true. So super simple things like that. Or, I'll just breathe in and out and just feel the soothing of that air coming in from outside. And I have eucalyptus trees right here, so I can usually smell them. And yeah, whatever it is, like wherever you are, there's some way that you can always connect as Gaia with Gaia. And um yeah, but give us your ideas too. What helps you, if you're, what are some other ways, if people are feeling the difficult aspects of what could be arising in this time? What are some other, you could say, coping skills? What are some other things that are soothing or helpful for you that might help other people? I would love for you to share that. All right. So much more coming. I have all the things ready for 2025, all ready to sign up. So the free, there's the free community. Please join that for sure. If you haven't yet. My monthly Mm, so there's the free version of the community, and then there's a paid version of the community. And the difference is the free version is just completely free, and you can come online and share and talk and get to know people and all of that. The paid version is $22 a month, and the difference is that it meets live, and the live gathering is also recorded at, on the first Friday of every month. And in that gathering, we look at the gist of the monthly energies ahead. I mean, the astrology of the month ahead. And then we drop into a channeling for the month from the spirit world. So it's a way to ground in and set the tone for your whole month ahead, and to do that in soul community. um so that meets every first Friday of the month. So the next gathering is actually going to be next Friday, January 3rd, 10 a.m. Pacific, for an hour and a half. Yeah, so that's available to join anytime. You can join for 1 month, you can join, it's a monthly thing, so you can come and go whenever you want. Um, and you don't have to be there live because it's all recorded. Okay. Then the next thing starting is the Ben Huis and Friends course, which starts January 10th. That goes from January all through all of 2025. That also meets, that's going to meet twice a month on the second and fourth Fridays of every month. Then in February, I'm starting the new round of the Infinite Soul Wisdom Astrology 101 course, and I'll be talking about that more coming up. But that one is absolutely perfect for you if you want to learn astrology or relearn astrology, even, redo your whole relationship to the cosmos and the basics of astrology through the knowing of your own soul and through your own direct relationship with the planets and the signs and the blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to talk more about that in another video coming up soon with that. But that's super exciting. And I would love to have you join that if you are wanting to learn astrology in that way. And then in March 2025, I am going to be holding a free summit with Kaylin Castell, and that's ready to sign up for actually. So please sign up for that if you haven't yet. That's going to be in March 9th through March 30th, 2025. Super, super, super fun and exciting. And then in April 2025, I'm starting the Stars Speak course, which is also super exciting, also ready to sign up for. And that course is going to be mostly held by me, but also will have guest speakers who are Chris Skidmore, Heather Ensworth, Julia Balaz, Kaylin Castell, and Divine Harmony. So it's going to be really, like a one of a kind of experience, which I'm really, really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to all of it, and it's all available if any of it calls to you, whatever calls to you. If you want to join more than one of the courses and you would like a bundle, or if you would like a longer term, like an 18-month payment plan, I'm happy to set that up. I've been setting that up for people. If you want to join like 2 or 3 of those courses, I can bundle them together and make it easier for you financially. There's also sliding scale options. So anyway, please join whatever calls to you. Okay. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would love, love, love that. And definitely join the free online community. Okay. Happy new moon and almost new year. See you soon.